All right, everybody, hit like and subscribe. It is that time. I have been playing with multi-tools like extensively. They've been my primary EDC. I've been going back and forth between them. I've got tons of Victorinox. I love A-locks. I've got big ones, small ones. I've got the Ranger grips. I've got several Leathermans. I've got Roxxon. I've got Next Tool. Got a Victorinox Swiss tool. I've been going back and forth and playing with them every night and using them daily and carrying them in my pocket to see which I think is the best thing out there for you. And the best one is not the Victorinox. I wanted to like this one most of all. I've got a Wingman from Leatherman. I've got a Leatherman Skeletool CX, which is, again, both of those excellent, great value. Both excel in different areas. I had a Charge Plus that I gave away to a buddy, the Roxxon. I've gone through a whole bunch of these, and I wanted this one to be the best. I think aesthetically it looks the best, and there are some things I do prefer about the Victorinox. I don't like just a personal thing, I don't care as much for the bit drivers on the Leathermans. I prefer to have dedicated, simple tools like this. I think that this is, because it's not trying to fit in a mini narrow bit, you actually get a wider, better, less likely to slip and strip on something like this. I like the comfort and the ergonomics and the fact that this is nice and flat. I think aesthetically this is the most pleasing, and it just oozes quality and robustness. However, there is nothing on this that is single open. I had, single-handed opening. I had to go through and loosen the springs with a screwdriver and kind of dick around with it to get it to the point where now it's really smooth and it opens up nice. But it is two-handed opening for everything. And also, and this is something I've seen on others, this is fully locked. I've got it up, it's all clicked in, everything. Pops the lock every time. So if you were using this for something kind of robust, if you did push it in and pull and torque a little bit, you do have to worry about that closing on your hand. And that's a really nice sharp knife. It's a great slicer, a little bit of belly to it. Not very big, but it's big enough to do the job as a if you have one of these do everything tools. But between nothing on this being one-handed opening and the fact that the lock, you can get it to fail relatively easily, I can't give it my highest recommendation. Now, if you don't mind that little bit of security, it's better than a slip joint. It's good enough for most people, and you're not smacking it like that. And if you live in a country or state where you can have a locking blade, but you cannot have one-handed opening, it's just that's just the knife laws in your state or your country, then I would say go for this. That would be your pick. For me here in the States, because we can't have one-handed opening, you probably saw this coming, but there's no better, I think, Leatherman style, do everything in one, but still be small enough to EDC every day than the new Leatherman Arc. The fact that you get one-handed, not just the blade, which is, by the way, Magna Cut, and it's a proper pointy, stabby, and cutty, slicey kind of blade, but it's one-handed opening and closing, not just for the blade. Can't do that with the Victorinox. Can't do that with most, to just give it a proper, thumb snap open like you would with any other knife. But, you've got your saw, which again, it's a little awkward because it's on the other side and you're almost like reverse flicking it, but you can't flick it open. You got to kind of push it. But you can open the saw one-handed. I can open up and get to my different bits and figure out which one I want. And I say, oh, you know what? I want the bit driver. I'll close that one. I can use that. And then I can close it one-handed. I can go to the other side and I can open up my file. I can close that one-handed. I can do the same with the scissors. I can open it, close it one-handed. I can go in and open up and select which of these tools I want and then close it one-handed. And most importantly, I can open up that one-handed and I can close it one-handed. This gives me all the tools that you probably ever need, including a really good pair of pliers. And then you've got, quality, made in America, good warranty. You've got Magna Cut steel. you've got a lot of good things going for this. And the fact that it's one or two-handed opening, because like yesterday, I got a whole bunch of big bags of dog food delivered from Chewy, 40 and 60 pound bags. I got to empty into these big Tupperware bins in the closet. So I pick up the bag and then I'm like, I got to reach into my pocket. If I have this, it's like, let me put the bag back down, let me pull this out, let me go in here and figure out which side's the blade, because no, that's the scissors, it's on this side. Open it up, and then I do my cutting, and then I can sort of almost close it one-handed and put it away. Or I'm holding the bag, I go whoosh, slash the bag, close it back up. Just like I would with a Benchmade bug out or any other, flipper or thumb stud or Spider Co. You got that utility with all these other tools. Now, the only downside I would say to this one is going to be, some people have reported the replaceable cutting teeth, blades. When you're cutting something hard like a coat hanger, chipping or cracking it. I'd rather have a replacement, have to replace them, than, cut something that's too hard and it chews up that blade and now the whole thing is shot. So some people will see that as a negative, that those aren't as strong. But you know what? For 12 bucks a piece, I went and ordered 2 new sets. So if I ever break those under hard use or I'm doing something stupid with it, or I just get a defective one, for 24 bucks, I got 2 other sets. If I only break one, I don't have to use both of these. But, I got these in a drawer here. That to me, I've gone through a bunch of these things. I've tried this one from True. I never even bothered reviewing this. I actually like it a lot in some ways. It's light, it's cheap, it's actually very cool and comfortable and ergonomic. The pliers are excellent, the cutting teeth are excellent. I like the bit driver on this bad boy. It locks in place and it uses standard quarter-inch bits that you can buy at any hardware store. And you can push the lock and lock it straight, or you can lock it and get more torque that way. What I didn't like about this, the steel's not as great, but also where this thumb stud is, the blade came a little nicked up. I wanted to sharpen in my work sharp. I can't. The blade's not tall enough this way, and this sticks out too far into the blade. There's no sharpening choil area, and so I can't go past that on the sanding belt. And even going on a stone, I'm when you get it at that angle, you'd start hitting that. So I didn't even bother reviewing this, but I had that. I got all the other ones you've seen videos of. I got my little next tool. I gave away the Roxxon. I gave away one of the Leathermans, and the other ones are in my drawer. But I've gone through a bunch of these. The cheap ones, the expensive ones. My 2 faves are this and this, but clearly there had to be one clear winner. And between this one having nothing be single-handed. Now, there are other Victorinoxes that have them, but the way they stick out, to me they look goofy and like they'd snag on your pocket. They didn't look all that comfortable. And so, and it wasn't all the tools. It was like only the main blade and maybe the saw or something. The rest of the tools were not one-handed opening. So it was very limited. You still had to sit here and dick around with both hands. You'd still have to sit here and do multiple movements and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to I'm holding something and go, shit, I need to bend this or tighten it. And I can grab this out of my pocket, and then just like a Bala song, I can go and work on it, and then I can close it, put it back in my pocket. That's what put the Leatherman Arc. Yes, it is expensive. You go to Leatherman's website, and by the time you get it shipped to your house, unless they got free shipping, you're looking at between $240 and $250. More if you want replacement cutting blades. That's a lot of money. It's $100 more than this. But I honestly think it's worth it. The only other honorable mentions that I would give would be if you're not big into the pliers and you're saying, okay, what's the best Swiss Army knives that would be comparable to this? Something where you have one single tool, because what I didn't want to do is have a plier tool, then I got to carry a normal tactical blade or something else. Or, I just wanted one tool that has a blade that's good enough to do everything I want and all the other tools, and they're all accessible. Now, these will not be one-handed opening, but if you're not as sold on the big pair of pliers, you go, look, I'm not going to be working on my car with this. I have regular tools for that, but I might need to grab something, twist a pair of wire, reach in and grab something, pull a splinter out, things like that. But you want all the tools. There's a lot of Swiss Army knives that have a bunch of stuff, but I just never thought about it before, but pliers are so good to have on you, as well as scissors and files and saws. So when it comes to having the whole enchilada in one tool, that gives you a decent enough blade. If you want to go small and much less space in your pocket and you don't mind a slip joint, but you get 2 blades, Swiss Champ. I know it looks big, but honestly, once you get used to this, you're like, this isn't that bad. I've got pliers, I've got scissors, I've got saws, I've got a dedicated Phillips screwdriver, I've got everything here. Like freaking magnifying glass, bottle openers, can openers, tweezers. I mean, whatever, corkscrew, whatever you think you might need going on about your day, camping, whatever. I'm like, oh, I got a tool for that. And then the same thing goes for the Work Champ. This one I haven't reviewed just because it's only one more addition to the Hercules that I had. But I went and got this one because it has the file, which also has a hacksaw blade, as well as a wood saw, as well as a large locking blade that is big enough to use as a weapon if you had to, but certainly you can get a little more work done. You've got multiple screwdrivers on this. You got scissors, you got pliers. I got a fat Phillips, and then I've got a fine one in there. Then you've got your normal screwdriver, can opener, bottle openers, wire strippers. I've got my corkscrew here, as well as a fire rod that I can use the back of the file and create some sparks and start a fire. If you want a Leatherman tool, spend the money. I mean, you may say, well, I don't care about Magna Cut, and you still get the one-handed opening with the Free 4, the P4, or something like that. Those would be good options too. But if you really want like the best of the best, and you want that blade shape, and you want Magna Cut, and you just want really just the best, it is the Mac Daddy. This is the most expensive. It's the Cadillac out there. Go with a Leatherman Arc. If you live in a country that doesn't let you have one-handed opening because they consider it a weapon, pick up a Swiss tool. I think this is absolutely fantastic. Apart from mine not locking the blades in as tight as I want, some people that might not bother. But there you have it. In my opinion, I don't think you can do any better for it is a little bigger and heavier than some. The CX, Skeletool CX is lighter, but it just has a bit driver and pliers and a blade. It doesn't have all this other stuff. If you wanted everything, no matter what life throws at you, you're like, I got something for that. You want one-handed, don't consider anything other than that. And then if you're more of a Swiss Army knife guy and you're just like, look, I don't need a giant pair of pliers that also has knives and stuff. I need a knife that also has pliers and things. Then go one of these routes. The Swiss Champ on paper, you're like, oh, it looks so wide and weird. It really isn't that big. I mean, it's smaller than these other multi-tools, but the Swiss Champ has so much stuff on it. You just like, no matter what life throws at you, you're like, I got a hook to grab something or pull a shoelace tight or, whatever. I've got awls, I've got scrapers and chisels. I mean, you're carrying a toolbox in your pocket. It's kind of amazing when you think about it. So, best of the best. There's my runner-up. And if you're going Swiss Army knife and you don't want something just small, you want really a legit alternative to something like this, but less pliery, more knifey, Work Champ, Swiss Champ. In Dave's garage or Dave's man cave opinion, those are the ones to get. So this is what is in my pocket almost every day, all day. No matter what I'm doing, I'm like, I got you. This thing I know has got my back. It's built like a tank, but it's not overly heavy. It's just, no matter what I need to do, I can get to it one-handed. Yeah, you got to wiggle around a little bit here and stuff like that. But hey, I can get my hands on like 9 different tools, including the pliers, without having to use the other hand. Perfect. But not everyone likes that. And that's where these come into play. And these, I think, are the 2 best out there. I think they're awesome. They're big and chunky. Don't care. I got big hands. I like knowing I'm ready for anything. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. I've been going back and forth on this and trying to think which ones do I like. Because I've got probably like, I don't know, 13 Swiss Army knives. And I've had like 7 or 8 of these damn things I've been playing around with for weeks. I was like, you know what? Let's go out and see what we think is the best. And I put some thought into it. There's your guy.